尊敬的韩正副总理
Vice Premier
尊
Han
敬
Zheng,
的蔡奇书记
Secretary Cai
尊敬
Qi,
的各国领导人
Your Excellencies,
各
leaders
国
of
际组织负责
participating
人
countries and
各
international
代表团
organizations,
团长
heads of
各位
delegation,
嘉宾
distinguished
女
guests,
士们
ladies and
先生
gentlemen,
们
friends.
朋友们大家好
Good evening.
欢迎出席
Welcome
2021
to
年
the
中国
Global
国际
Trade in
服务贸
Services
易交易
Summit
会
of the
全球
2021
服务贸
China
易峰会
International Fair for Trade
我
in
代表组
Services.
委会
On behalf of the
向支
organizing
持和
committee,
参与服
I
贸
wish
会
to
的
express
各国
my
政
hearty
府、国
appreciation
际组
to the
织、
national
各界
governments,
朋友
international
和全体工作
organizations,
人员
friends from across
表
sectors,
示
and
衷心
all
感
the
谢。
staff for your support
向
and
线上线
participation.
下
A
参
warm
会的
welcome
各
to
位
all
嘉
the
宾
distinguished
表
guests
示
attending
诚挚的
online
欢
and
迎
in。person.
本届服贸会是在全
This
球
year's
疫情
CIFTIS
起
is held
伏反复、
amid twists and
世界
turns
经
of the
济
pandemic in the
脆弱
world
复苏
and
的形势下
fragile
举行
global
的，
economic recovery.
彰显了中国
It
政府
demonstrates the
对
Chinese
服务贸易
government's
发展
serious
的
commitment
高度重
to
视
the growth of
和
services
扩大
trade
高水平开放的
and firm
坚定
confidence
信心。
in expanding high
中华
standard
人民共和
opening
国
up.
主席习近平
President Xi
将发
Jinping
表
will
重要
deliver
视频致辞。
important remarks
国务院
virtually.
副总理韩正
Vice Premier
莅
Han
临
Zheng
会场。
is attending in person.
出席今天峰会
Also
并将
attending
发表致辞
and
的
addressing the summit
还有
today
白俄罗斯总
are
统
President
卢卡申科、
Alexander Lukashenko
乌
of
拉圭总
Belarus,
统纳卡列、
President Louis
津
Laguerre
巴布韦总
Bo
统
of
古
Uruguay,
兰加古瓦、
President Emerson
爱尔兰总理
Mnangagwa of
马丁、
Zimbabwe,
越南总理
Taoiseach
范
Miguel
明珍、
Martin of
经
Ireland,
合组织
Prime
秘书
Minister
长
Pham Binh
科
Minh of
曼、
Vietnam, Secretary
联合
General
国贸发
Matthias
会
Cormann of
代
the
理秘书
Organization of
长
Economic
杜兰
Cooperation
特、
and Development,
世贸组
Acting
织
Secretary General
副总
Isabel
干事
Durant of
冈
the
萨雷斯
UN Conference on Trade and
来
Development,
自16
and
个
Deputy
国家
Director
的
General
17
Annabel
位
Gonzalez
副长
of
级
the
嘉宾
WTO.
以
We are
及
also
外
joined
国
by
驻华使
16
节、
ministers
国
from
际组
15
织代
countries,
表、
diplomatic
各交
envoys
易
in
团代
China,
表、有
representatives of
关跨国
international
公司、
organizations,
中资
delegates
企
of
业
trade
和
delegations,
商
and
协会代
representatives
表
of
出
multilateral,
席今天的峰
multinational
会。
companies, Chinese companies, and business
本
associations.
届服贸会聚焦服务
This
贸易
year's
数字
CIFTIS
化发展
focuses
的
on
新
the
趋
new
势，
trend of
新
digitization
设
of
服务贸
services
易
trade,
发展成就
an
展
exhibition
和
on
数
China's
字贸易
achievements
专
in
区、
trade and services, and
首
a
次
special
使用
exhibition area
首
for
钢
digital
园
trade
区
are set up.
专题场
And
馆
the Shogun Park is
展
used
览
for
面
the
积
first time
以
to be
上
a
届
thematic
扩大
venue.
了
Total
18%。
exhibition space expanded by
来自
18% from last year.
153个国家的
International
和地区
exhibitors
的
account for
1.2万多家企业参展参会。
More than 11,000
企
companies
业数
from
比上届增长了
153 countries and
52%。
regions have registered as
希望
exhibitors,
大家
up
充
by
分利用服贸会
45%
平
from
台
the last
积
event.
极沟通
I
交
hope
流
you will make
努
full
力达
use
成
of the CIFTIS
更多
platform to
合作成
establish
果
contact,
为全
enhance
球服务
exchanges
贸
and
易发
strive
展
to increase
做
cooperation
出
results
新的贡
and
献。
make new contributions to the growth of global
现
trade
在
and services.
让我们
Now,
以热烈的
please
掌
welcome
声欢迎
President
中华人民
Xi
共和国
Jinping
主
of the
席
People's
习
Republic
近
of
平阁
China
下
to
发
deliver
表
the
视
video
频致辞。
remarks. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good evening. On behalf of the government and people of China, and also in my own name, I wish to extend a warm welcome and cordial greetings to all the distinguished guests of the 2021 China International Fair for Trade in Services. This year's CIFTIS is themed towards digital future and service-driven development. I believe that the active participation of you all will make this year's event a special and productive one. Trading services is a key component of international trade and an important area of economic and trade cooperation between countries. It has a big role to play in fostering a new development paradigm. We will work with all other parties to uphold openness, cooperation, mutual benefit, and win-win, share opportunities in the growth of services trade, and promote world economic recovery and growth. We will open up at a higher level by implementing across the country a negative list for cross-border services trade, and by exploring the development of national demonstration zones for the innovative development of trading services. We will create more possibilities for cooperation by scaling up support for the growth of the services sector in Belt and Road partner countries, and by sharing China's technological achievements with the rest of the world. We will further improve rules for the services sector by supporting Beijing and other localities in piloting the alignment of domestic rules with the ones in high-standard international free trade agreements, and in building demonstration zones of digital trade. We will continue to support the innovation-driven development of small and medium-sized enterprises by deepening the reform of the new Third Board and setting up a Beijing Stock Exchange as the primary platform serving innovation-oriented SMEs. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, let us join hands to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic and get through these tough times. Using peace, development, and win-win cooperation as the golden key, we will be able to address the challenges facing the world economy and international trade and investment, and create a brighter future for all. Thank you.
I'd like to thank President Xi Jinping for the excellent remarks. He expounded on the significance of strengthening international cooperation on services trade and expressed his hope for a successful CIFTIS. Also announced a series of major opening up measures, including opening up at a higher level, creating more possibilities for cooperation, improving rules for the services sector, and supporting the innovation-driven development of SMEs. The measures will have a significant and far-reaching impact on the development of global trade and services and the opening up of services trade in China. First, I would like to invite President Lukashenko of Belarus, President Luis Lacalle Powell of Uruguay, President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, Prime Minister Martin of Ireland, and Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh of Vietnam to deliver the remarks. Thank you, Vice Premier Hu Zhenhua. First, President Lukashenko of Belarus will deliver a video remarks. Please put on your headset. Your Excellency President Xi Jinping, Heads of State and Government, ladies and gentlemen, since Belarus established solid friendship with China, China has been upholding the spirit of fairness, equality, and mutual benefit to advance the Belt and Road cooperation. The turbulence brought by pandemic and other global challenges has made China even stronger. As the world is in a complicated situation, CIFTIS this year can be seen as a symbolic and important step taken by China. Countries around the world are suffering from border shutdown, declined tourism, disrupted logistics, rising protectionism, huge pressure on the public health system, and cancellation of international cultural exchanges. These are all unprecedented tests for the services market. At the same time, the crisis has spawned the booming development of digital technology and spurred the high-quality transition of traditional services industry. Against this backdrop, China has accumulated rich experience in advancing and promoting distance learning, telemedicine, and promoting digital technology in tourism. The achievements are admired by Belarus. We attach great importance to expanding the scale of import and export of services, and China is an important cooperation partner for Belarus in this respect, and we hope to expand cooperation with China in trading services. We believe that the priority for all countries is to promote a convenient services trade, remove barriers, and attract investment. In recent years, we witnessed the rapid development of global e-commerce, including cross-border e-commerce, the scale of which is expanding at an annual growth rate of 50%. It has become an effective tool to boosting economic recovery. Belarus is ready to join China's online platforms to promote our goods and services in education, tourism, and medical service. Belarus believes that the cooperation as such enjoys bright prospects. COVID has caused a huge loss on tourism. We believe that we need to work together to further expand the service scale of tourism. Global chain logistics is also severely disrupted. However, thanks to the unique geographical advantage, the infrastructure of Belarus enjoys a wide market, and Belarus has become a major cross-border transportation corridor under the Belt and Road Initiative framework. From 2014 to 2020, the cargo volume of China-Europe freight train has increased by 15-folds, and Belarus will continue to make sure the smooth operation of the cargo transportation of the China-Europe freight train. At last, I want to emphasize that Belarus will continue to contribute our own share to a speedy global economic recovery. We are ready to work with all countries to engage in a full and win-win cooperation in services industry to bring benefits to all peoples in all countries. I wish CIFTIS this year a great success. Thank you.
感谢卢卡申科阁下的致辞。下面有请乌拉圭东岸共和国总统拉卡列阁下致辞。
En nombre del gobierno del Uruguay, saludo al presidente Xi Jinping, al ministro de Comercio, señor Wang Wentao, a las autoridades del gobierno de Beijing, así como al pueblo de la República Popular de China.
And to the people of China. Uruguay values its friendship with China. We thank China for inviting us to the summit.
Esta feria se ha consolidado
CIFTIS
como una de las mayores plataformas de exhibición para China en lo que refiere a servicios y despierta el especial interés de la región latinoamericana y especialmente de nuestro país. Mi gobierno trabaja permanentemente para profundizar nuestras relaciones amistosas y de cooperación en el contexto de la importante asociación estratégica que esperamos consolidar hacia la integralidad en el marco de la franja y la ruta que compartimos con el objetivo de aumentar nuestra complementariedad económica para el beneficio mutuo. El comercio de servicios se ha convertido en el segmento más dinámico del comercio mundial y la pandemia ha acentuado esta tendencia. En este contexto, Uruguay, que es un exportador neto de servicios, y China poseen un amplio margen para potenciar su complementariedad. China actualmente es nuestro principal socio comercial en los rubros más sobresalientes de nuestra economía, en lo que refiere al comercio de bienes, y estamos trabajando para profundizar el desarrollo. En el año 2018, Uruguay y China suscribieron un memorándum de entendimiento para la cooperación en comercio de servicios. En este ámbito, en este rubro, Uruguay mantiene con China un superávit de 200 millones de dólares anuales, siendo ya un proveedor de servicios portuarios, logísticos
The annual services trade surplus reaches $200 million. As a Latin American country, Uruguay enjoys unique geographical location. We have free seaport, airport, and competitive bounded areas. Uruguay is also home to many global innovation companies, the influence of which span across the whole Latin American region. In traditional services areas such as tourism, China will be the most dynamic source of tourists in the post-COVID era. We hope to attract more tourists from China, and we are ready to welcome them to Uruguay. In recent years, the IT industry in Uruguay developed quickly. It has become a major exporter in Uruguay. We have very diverse companies in IT development, including local companies, international companies, and small and medium-sized economies and enterprises. In terms of IT, Uruguay is one of the leaders in Latin America in terms of IT development index, fiber access rate, and download speed. Uruguay is also a member of D9. Therefore, the per capita software export of Uruguay ranked first in Latin America, and the total volume of software export ranked third in Latin America. For a long time, Uruguay enjoys clear business rules, expected investment revenue, and this is a huge advantage. At the same time, we have a stable political situation, high living quality, sound legal framework, preferential tax policy, and active and high-quality human resources, as well as competitive cost advantage. All these made Uruguay a best and favorable option for international companies. I believe that in this digitalized world, we have much to achieve. Uruguay and China are all committed to promoting the development of services industry. And by taking this opportunity, I would like to reaffirm that Uruguay will continue to work with China to deepen our bilateral relationship. And I look forward to attending the CIFTIS in the future in person, and I wish this year's summit a great success. Thank you.
I wish to thank His Excellency Mr. President. I now give the floor to His Excellency President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe.
Of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And on my own behalf, I would like to thank the government of the People's Republic of China and His Excellency President Xi Jinping for inviting me to address this 2021 Global Trade in Services Summit. The organization of the summit, yet again, under the constricted environment of the COVID-19 pandemic, demonstrates China's continued commitment to partnering with nations of the world to strengthen global trade in services and further facilitate global economic recovery. I also wish to appreciate the excellent bilateral relations between Zimbabwe and China and our comprehensive strategic partnership framework. Zimbabwe is dedicated to working with China and indeed the rest of the world to foster an open and inclusive environment for socio-economic cooperation. Distinguished delegates, the theme of this year's summit, and I quote, towards digital future and the service-driven development, and of course, is timely as the world economy is increasingly becoming technology and services-driven. Equally important are open, transparent, and inclusive economic environments which promote the flow of production factors and enhance cross-border connectivity. To this end, my country continues to make notable milestones in improving the business environment informed by the global economic imperatives and in line with our national, regional, and continental agenda. Zimbabwe is promoting greater trade policy harmonization as well as transparent economic governance and a more inclusive growth. The prioritization of innovations across all sectors has had far-reaching impacts on the economy. In addition, reforms by my administration have seen structural transformation of our economy towards enhancing production and productivity in key sectors such as agriculture, mining, and manufacturing, among others. To propel this renewed focus, greater attention is being placed on efficient and cost-effective services, modern technologies, and skills upgrading. The vision of transforming Zimbabwe into an upper-middle income economy by 2030 envisages a modern, efficient, and well-developed infrastructure to leapfrog Zimbabwe's trade and economic transformation. There are opportunities for investment in energy and power generation, transport infrastructure, and ICTs, among others. We remain grateful for the support extended by the Chinese government towards Zimbabwe's socio-economic development. In the health services sector, Zimbabwe looks forward to increased cooperation with China and other partners and investors in promoting science-based epidemic prevention and control systems, as well as innovation of medical technologies. My government has identified the digital economy as a strategic aspect in the journey to become an upper-middle income economy by 2030. We continue to create an enabling ecosystem to unleash the power of innovation in driving cooperation for increased production, productivity, entrepreneurship, job creation, access to new markets, and the uptake of new technologies. International cooperation and intellectual property protection with regards to the digital sector is also being pursued. Furthermore, my country has developed the Smart Zimbabwe 2030 Master Plan to drive the pace of ICT innovations whilst addressing changing public needs and evolving global trends. Zimbabwe is spearheading smart agriculture in Africa that will guide the development of e-agriculture strategies on the African continent. Internally, my government is deploying an e-agriculture strategy which aims to transform agriculture for national prosperity and to lift many people out of poverty. Meanwhile, investment opportunities are abound in tourism, infrastructure, development, and the broadening of our tourism products. Distinguished delegates Zimbabwe stands ready to strengthen international cooperation in the field of trade in services. We are situated in a strategic location in southern Africa for regionally targeted investments. This can be taken advantage of under the Belt and Road Initiative. Zimbabwe's huge natural resource base, educated and skilled workforce are also attractive investment incentives. I therefore invite investments from China and the rest of the world to partner us in our industrialization and modernization journey towards shared progress and mutually beneficial cooperation. I thank you.
Thank
you, President Mnangagwa. I now invite Prime Minister of Ireland, His Excellency Michel Martin, to deliver remarks.
Distinguished guests, I am delighted to speak to you all this evening at the opening ceremony of this year's China International Fair for Trade in Services. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for assigning Country of Honour status to Ireland this year. This is a great honour, especially for Team Ireland in China, and a positive symbol of our strong trade and investment relations. Team Ireland in China and the Irish companies participating in this impressive trade fair are excited to have this opportunity to showcase the best that Ireland has to offer, including in tourism and culture, higher education and technology, agri-food, trade and investment opportunities. Having previously participated in 2017, 2018 and 2020, this partnership has already been of great benefit to Irish companies and businesses. Around the world, certain areas of cooperation, such as tourism, aviation and culture, are slower in re-emerging post-COVID-19, but we are seeing them return. What is more, there's a great enthusiasm among the Irish and the Chinese people to renew these areas of cooperation as soon as we can safely do so, and to develop and to cultivate new areas. And that is why this trade fair is an excellent opportunity for Ireland to raise awareness of our many unique offerings to a large and informed Chinese audience. Indeed, despite the pandemic, Ireland and China witnessed strong overall trade figures in 2020, and this trend has continued throughout 2021 to date. A wide range of financial services, including fintech sectors and education, feature strongly in the trade in services relationship between our two countries. Chinese technology companies have made significant investments in Ireland over the past 18 months. According to our Central Statistics Office, China was Ireland's largest trading partner in Asia last year, and fifth largest trading partner in the world. As a committed member state of the European Union, Ireland also fully supports the strengthening trade relationship between China and the European Union, which has seen EU-China trade in services grow from 2017 to 2019. Indeed, the EU and China now trade, on average, over 1 billion a day. We see much potential to build on these trading relationships in the coming years to the mutual benefit of each of our countries. On behalf of the Government of Ireland, I would like to reiterate my congratulations to all those involved in the 2021 China International Fair for Trade in Services. I wish you all a very successful event.
Thank you, Prime Minister Martin. And now invite the Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh of Socialist Republic Vietnam. Your Excellency, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee and President, Comrade Xi Jinping, Your Excellencies, Heads of State, Government and International Organizations, ladies and gentlemen, friends, it is my great pleasure and honor to address the 2021 China International Fair for Trade in Services and the Global Summit on Trade in Services under the theme towards a digital future and service-driven development. I would just to thank General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee and President Xi Jinping for inviting me to this significant meeting. On behalf of the Vietnamese government, I wish to extend cordial greetings and best wishes to the distinguished guests participating in this event. Distinguished guests, we are living in the third decade of the 21st century, an era of both vast opportunities and enormous challenges. As countries address the multiple challenges of COVID-19, climate change, and depletion of natural resources, enhancing international cooperation and effectively applying digital technologies is one of the best options that we have. It will contribute to generating new drives for economic growth and recovery, and in turn boost sustainable, inclusive, and all-round development. Stronger digital cooperation is also conducive to peace, stability, cooperation, and a better development environment for countries in the world. We highly commend the remarkable achievements and investments made by China and many other countries in digital technologies. What is happening demonstrates that the development and application of science and technology has created and will continue to create enormous benefits, facilitate the successful shift to growth models, better develop resources, and speed up the flow of capital, goods, and services with unprecedented scale and performance. Vietnam realized the importance of digital transformation and developing a digital economy and digital society, and has been working hard toward this end. In this connection, let me share the following thoughts. First, taking COVID response as an opportunity to achieve digital transformation, centering around digital technologies and digital economy, and speed up the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Vietnam hopes to see active and effective international cooperation to let digital transformation truly become a new way of narrowing the divide among countries and social inequality, and enabling access to equitable public services for people in underdeveloped, remote, island, and border regions. Second, laying great emphasis on the role of international agreements in digital technologies and digital economic cooperation. In addition to promoting the development of digital technologies and digital economy, such agreements also need to take into account countries' legitimate needs in terms of national security, cybersecurity, protecting privacy, anti-monopoly, and eliminating the inequalities in fulfilling tax obligations. It is with this spirit that Vietnam has been taking part in the formulation of new rules on e-commerce and free trade agreements, including RCEP and ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement. We speak highly of China's proposals and implementation measures in this area, and we stand ready to work with China and all others to develop proper legal framework to take the digital economy forward along an in-depth, effective, and correct path that is consistent with the overall interests of the entire society. Third, stepping up cooperation on education and human resources and enhancing synergy among the science and technology community among countries and regions, so as to increase the digital proficiency and skills of business and the general public. We should also help workers, especially vulnerable groups, to gradually adapt to digital technologies. Fourth, speeding up the application of digital technologies in trade facilitation so that goods, services, and people can flow more conveniently and transportation can be kept up and the supply chain will stay uninterrupted in the context of the continuing pandemic. Fifth, Countries need to strengthen cooperation and boost cross-border e-commerce on the basis of equality and mutual benefit. This will help increase export, especially seasonal agro products, including fruits and seafood. Ladies and gentlemen, as a dynamic economy in ASEAN, Vietnam has signed 17 free trade agreements with 60 partners in the world. We have a market of nearly 100 million population, among whom young people take up a fairly big share. They're innovative and highly adaptable to digital technologies. Overall, Vietnam enjoys a broad prospect when it comes to digital technology. Now, 70% of the Vietnamese population are Internet users, and we have one of the fastest ICT development in the world. Vietnam hopes that digital economy cooperation will be placed at a proper place and become a priority in the Vietnam-China Comprehensive Strategic Partnership and in the broader cooperation between Vietnam and all other countries in the world. Now, China is Vietnam's largest trading partner and Vietnam, China's fifth largest in the world and largest among ASEAN nations. Vietnam attaches great importance to and would like to work with China and others to steer the digital economy and trade in services cooperation in a way that is more open, inclusive, sustainable, and that is based on mutual respect, humanistic value, equality, and mutual benefit. We hope such cooperation will contribute to the sustainable development of countries and bring tangible benefits to people in the region and beyond. In closing, I wish the 2021 China International Fair for Trade and Services and the Global Summit on Trade and Services a full success. I wish you all good health, happiness, and success. Thank you. I wish to thank Mr. Prime Minister. I now invite Secretary General of the OECD, Mr. Coleman, to deliver remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today at the 2021 Global Trade and Services Summit. Thank you also to the Ministry of Commerce, the People's Government of Beijing Municipality, and also the Organizing Committee of the China International Fair for Trade and Services for hosting this event. Many countries are still dealing with the impacts of COVID-19, and while the global economic recovery is underway and the outlook has improved, the recovery remains uneven and uncertainty remains. Our latest analysis projects global GDP to grow by 6% in 2021 and 4.4% in 2022, following the 3.5% contraction in 2020. In China, the recovery has been stronger, with GDP projected to expand by 8.5% this year, as long as the health situation remains under control, which is of course the situation in China and all around the world. The pace of the recovery in China and around the world will also depend on well-functioning global markets and will be particularly contingent on enabling services trade. Services are at the heart of our economies, representing around 80% of global GDP and over half of China's GDP. They have been significantly impacted by the crisis. On average, across the G7, the value of total commercial services exports was 12% lower in the first quarter of 2021 than in the same period in 2019. Services trade also weakened in China, but commercial services exports actually grew by 23% in China over the same period. Latest OECD evidence shows that the global regulatory environment for services trade became more restrictive in 2020, with new barriers compounding the pandemic's shocks. Continued efforts to open up the services sector are key to facilitating a services-driven recovery and to resume the transition towards a more consumption-based economy. The pandemic also accelerated the use of digital services, highlighting their increasing importance to the global trade network. However, while remote working and online economic activities have become more prevalent, barriers affecting digital trade remain a concern. A strong, rules-based trading system and global standards can help overcome existing global divides. This includes through consistent approaches in international, regional and domestic regulatory instruments, such as the OECD Services Trade Restrictiveness Index, which can help facilitate global solutions to cross-border data flows. This underscores how important ongoing conversations about digital trade, such as the WTO's Joint Statement Initiative, are to building internationally cohesive outcomes. The OECD has been developing instruments to maximize the benefits of global trade and investment, as well as the digital transformation, ranging from our standards on responsible business conduct to the OECD recommendation on artificial intelligence. We've also worked to address the tax challenges raised by the digital transformation of our economies, and we very much appreciate China's involvement and support for our historic two-pillar agreement to reform international taxation rules. Dialogue and multilateral cooperation will remain key to fostering open, innovative and inclusive services trade. The OECD will continue to work with both our members and partners to find common approaches to common challenges, to continue to develop a stronger global economy, delivering benefits for our people all around the world. Thank you.
感谢科曼先生的致辞。
Thank you, Mr.
下面有请联合国贸易和发展会议代理秘书长杜兰特女士致辞。
Ladies and gentlemen, definitely the digital revolution is shaping our future, and services are now worldwide at the center of economic activities. The theme of the 2021 China International Fair for Trade and Services, Services-Driven Development for a Digital Future, is thus of great relevance, and I am delighted to participate in the discussions. Digitalization has provided an enormous boost to a wide range of service sectors such as retail, banking and consulting. Moreover, the pandemic has greatly accelerated existing trends in digitalization. For example, the use of artificial intelligence, big data and fifth-generation network has facilitated remote health consultation and diagnosis. Online platforms and massive open-line courses have allowed schools and universities to continue fulfilling their mission. We are coming to understand and appreciate the scope and direction these changes are likely to take in the future, as well as the impact on sustainable development. As you know, UNCTAD is primarily concerned with trade and development. Digital technologies have significantly improved the tradability of services. This offers an array of new opportunities for businesses in developing countries to reach global markets at lower cost and faster speed. At the same time, it provides developing countries with new venues for participation in global value chains. To give you a sense of the magnitude services promised for trade and development, the total export value of digitally deliverable services grew threefold between 2005 and 2019, that is from US $1.2 trillion in 2005 to 3.2 trillion in 2019. However, to a large extent, developing countries are yet to capture the gains arising from these opportunities. Most gains go to high-income countries. In 2019, high-income countries accounted for about 85% of the world's total digitally delivered service exports. Low-income countries capture only 0.1%. This suggests that service digitalization threatens to further increase and entrench existing inequalities both within and between countries. The digitalization of services poses numerous challenges at the policy, legal, regulatory and ethical level. To meet these challenges, international and multi-stakeholders cooperation are required. At our upcoming interministerial conference, UNCTAD 15, delegates from 195 UNCTAD member states and other stakeholders will address this and other issues which are critical for an inclusive and resilient post-pandemic recovery. In the lead-up to UNCTAD 15, we will also host a Digital Global Services Forum between 22nd and 24th of September. I cordially invite you to join us in this important discussion. I thank you for your attention.
Thank
you, Madame Durant.
下面
Next
有请世界贸易
speaker
组
is Deputy
织副
Director
总干
General
事
of the
冈
World
萨梅
Trade
斯女士
Organization,
致辞。
Madame Gonzalez.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me to the Global Trading Services Summit and for providing me the opportunity to reflect on the future of services trade. Greater digitalization is changing the global economy and international trade. The pandemic has accelerated this long-term transformation as companies boosted their efforts to expand online operations and consumers adopted new digital shopping habits. The increased and accelerated uptake of digital technologies will cause a further expansion of trading services, which will account for an even greater share of world trade. This will be driven by the technological advances, but also by the continued rise of incomes in emerging countries, which will be associated with greater domestic consumption and supply of services. This is the case of China, for example, where services share of GDP jumped from 41% in 2005 to over 55% in 2020. Up to the pandemic, cross-border trading services had expanded at a faster pace than trading goods since 2011. Services share of world trade grew from 9% in 1970 to over 20% today. The WTO forecast that services could account for up to 1/3 of world trade on a balance of payments basis by 2040, representing a 50% increase in the share of services in global trade in just 2 decades. Technological advances will further transform the structure of trading services, with services that can be supplied digitally continuing to increase. These technological advances will also lead to a greater prevalence of cross-border trading services, while reducing in some instances the need for investing into a commercial presence abroad or for natural persons to travel to supply services in foreign markets. This change in the sectoral composition and means of delivering services will help increase the participation of developing countries in international trading services, as their capacity to export will be less dependent on the capacity of their firms to mobilize capital to invest and establish abroad. The trade of the future is not only one where more services will be traded as final products, but also one where services will increasingly be traded indirectly as value-added content embodied into goods trade. Already, services account for about 50% of world trade when measured in value-added terms, and according to the most recent data, foreign services content represents 12% of gross manufacturing exports in OECD economies. Services value-added content in goods trade, especially imported services, will grow further in the coming years, and accordingly, the importance of many developing countries as services exporters in value-added terms will increase as a result. The trade of the future will be one where the impact and relevance of government policies affecting trading services are amplified, and where, as a result, greater attention is paid to inside-the-border measures. This would include not only the more standard barriers to services trade, such as discriminatory or quantitative restrictions, but also barriers affecting the digital supply of services, such as restrictions on data flows and data localization requirements, which are of relevance for digital trade more generally. The greater focus on inside-the-border measures would also cover regulatory frameworks that enable and facilitate services, transactions, and trade. Currently, new rules on e-commerce, services domestic regulation, and investment facilitation for development are being negotiated among groups of the like-minded WTO members. While these 3 initiatives differ in many ways, they all require governments to take actions to enhance transparency, efficiency, effectiveness, and predictability of administrative requirements and procedures. Ultimately, these negotiations will help reduce fragmentation in international trade and investment governance and contribute to reducing costs, improving the business environment for efficient and sustainable trade and investment. I would like to conclude by wishing you very productive deliberations and a highly successful 2021 Global Trading Services Summit.
感谢冈萨雷斯女士的致辞。
Thank you, Madam
下面
Gonzalez.
有请胡春华副总理
And
继
Vice
续
Premier
主
Hu
持峰会。
Chunhua will continue to chair the summit. I would like to thank the leaders of participating countries and leading officials of international organizations for the excellent remarks. They shared their keen perspectives and insights on greater cooperation and innovation-driven development of services trade. Their forward-looking inputs are of great significance to the success of CIFTIS. Now, may I invite Vice Premier Han Zheng of the People's Republic of China to announce the opening of the 2021 CIFTIS. I now declare the 2021 China International Fair for Trading Services open.